What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome along to episode number 15 of the F1 22 Road to GOAT Driver Career Mode series for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it is the second sprint weekend. Today's episode we've got two very entertaining races for you. It should be an absolute cracker as we get to the last two races of the season now. So in terms of strategy, we're going on one set of medium tyres to the end of the sprint, so no issue there. And we'll go down the fuel as always in order to try and get us to the end of the race without too much hassle at all. We are still chasing for P6 in the Constructors' Championships. It's unlikely. We've still got a number of good teams around us. But if we can try and get a point here, we could potentially try and get a bit closer to pulling it off. But it would take some serious work. We've got a number of good cars in front of us. We line up on the grid now for the start. Gasly's AlphaTauri there alongside us for the run towards turn 1. We go to 5 red lights now for the Sao Paulo sprint. The lights are on. And the lights are out and we are underway. Decent getaway on the left-hand side compared to Gasly, who stays in front of us for the moment. There goes Albon around our outside going towards that first corner. One of the first few times this season our teammates actually got the better of us. Going in towards that first corner, dive to the inside of both Gasly and Albon will be on the outside for turn number 2 here. Get around the outside of both of them. Might be a bit of contact with the Gasly front wing there. We've managed to get away with it though. He's going to come back us around the outside though, so it might not be over just yet. So give him the room to try and have a go at us on the way towards turn number 4. A bit too late to defend from him now. He's down our outside, draws level with us, going into the corner. There goes Albon, look to the inside, and there's a bit of contact there. No damage done to his front wing, but looks a bit. Gasly drops back behind his teammate Snowder, and we put up both of our cars for Williams in P11 and P12. So a decent start to this race. Again, just that one spot off the line. We have to start chasing down Esteban Ocon now in front of us. He's pushing to lap number 3 this Grand Prix, pushing a couple of laps ahead now, going through turn number 6 now. And on the exit, we've got a car going around in front of us, yellow flag there. And a lot of cars all jumbled up. Let's try and go on the outside here. We have to only see it in running onto the grass. So nothing gained from up there. Not quite sure what actually happened in front. Let's have a quick look at a replay here, just to see some idea of what went down. So it's Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren. He just loses the car. So on the exit, goes way too much on the throttle on exit and falls away. And we're lucky that Alonso didn't hit him there. So he's just going to go around the outside. He's held up Ocon as well. So those two are going side by side with each other on the exit. Push on to the end lap number 3 now. We are chasing Ocon, and the DRS has been deployed for the first time in this sprint race. So try and use it to our advantage here. Going towards turn 1. We're going to look to the inside if we can. Very late on the stoppers into that first corner. We accidentally tagged Alonso for that first corner. He's lucky to not spun out, and so are we. Ocon staying in front of us at the moment, and there goes Albon trying to threaten us around the outside, but we only make him lose ground to Tsunoda, unfortunately. So our teammate down a place and down 2 now as Magnussen gets around him. Going to look to the inside of Ocon going towards turn number 4 now, on the way towards the corner. We're on his inside. He's got to give us the room into the braking zone, and good exit from us is all we need to move up past and gain another place on up into P10 now. 2 spots away from the points here, but Alonso and Ricciardo have already gone away quite quickly. Ricciardo 2.5 up the road. We get to the end of lap number 4 now, and Ocon might try and pose a main threat to us here down this main straight. Come towards turn 1. He's got a brilliant run. He's going to the first corner. He's going to attempt what we did to him a lap ago, and we're going to try and switch back, and it's not going to work out. He just didn't give us enough space, and we've tagged him twice there for the first couple of corners, so no damage. We're lucky to still be in contention to have to stay on the track without having repairs. On to lap number 7 now. We're halfway through the sprint. Ocon there right behind Alonso, and try and go to the inside of the Frenchman. Once again, he gives us the space, just about moves out of the way in time to avoid us hitting him. So we managed to go on the outside of him, and we're back up into P10 now. Try and chase Alonso now if we can, but Ocon could still be a threat to us. On to lap number 8, we're going to try the same thing we did on Ocon a lap ago, to the inside of Alonso and taking the place away. So P9 now, 1 place off the points. A lucky retirement in front of us could be all we need to actually snatch a point from this. Of course, the points are crucial in these late stages of the season. On to the end of lap number 8 now, and Ocon chasing us. He's managed to get around Alonso, gone way wide there, onto the grass, and this could be all the impetus Ocon needs to try and have a move at us going towards turn number 1. We're going to use our batteries in order to try and stay in front of him here. But the DRS will be redeployed as we come towards turn number 1. Just a few more laps left to go in this thing, and Ocon seizing his chance, looking right to the inside of us, going towards that first corner. We're going to back off though and try and switch back on him on the inside. That's a very nice move. We've actually managed to make pay off here, so still side by side with him, going through turns 1 and 2. We should have the run for the inside of turn 3, and there we go, moving back up in front of him just for the moment, but it's not over yet. So he goes around there outside. He's got a brilliant exit. We force him off onto the grass a little bit. Now Alonso seizing his moment, looking to the inside of both of us here, trying to take 2 places. We're 3 wide with the Alpine cars, and now Alonso's just on our inside, and we've managed to get clear of him as well. So the Spaniard falls back into line. It's P9 for us here. Just a few more laps left to go in this thing. But sadly, Ocon did get around us here, so we have to do our best in order to try and get back in front of him, going towards turn number 1. 2 more laps to go in this sprint. Onto the inside. That's even further back than we were last time. I see a few cuts in Ocon's front wing, so a few bashes in his armour there. We go around the outside going through, on the inside going through turn 3. Alonso tried to go on the outside behind us, it drops back and now falls behind Tsunoda. Side by side with the Frenchman on the run towards turn number 4. Once again, will Tsunoda try and take advantage? No, he won't. Won't get the room. Ocon on our outside, and we managed to get clear of him once more. We'll try and stay in front as best we can as we push on to this last lap of the race. Ocon still chasing us here, as he has throughout this Grand Prix. Throughout this sprint, it's been a non-stop battle with him. He looks to the inside once again towards turn 4, and we're still there, but this time he's got the run. He's on the inside with a particularly poor exit, and he's made us pay for it. He's still there. There's contact. We've fallen away on the outside of the track, and Tsunoda's going to try and go 3 wide if he can, but moves back into line. But Ocon's now got the run he needs, and Tsunoda goes around our outside. We may have lost 2 spaces there. It's a double whammy potentially, but we managed to get back around Tsunoda, where Ocon might be too much for us here in these late stages of this race. We're going to do what we can to try and get back around him, but I don't think it'll be enough. We're too far back to go for any late dives. Leclerc comes to the line up front. He's won the sprint, so that's a crucial number of points on a day where he could secure the World Championship if he wins the Grand Prix itself, and it depends on the finishers around him. But through that final corner now, Ocon just too much for us to tame with that last lap. We kept him behind for a good amount of time, but unfortunately it's not enough. We're going to run to the line here to claim what looks to be P10, unless Tsunoda can try and get us here towards the line, but he won't. We've got the DRS and down towards the line for P10 in the sprint, so a decent performance, especially compared to the sprint we had in Austria a couple of rounds ago. So a decent run for us, and sets us up for P10 to start in the Grand Prix itself, so not too bad at all. Good stuff.
Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye.
So a full 8 points then going the way of Charles Leclerc after victory in the sprint. Hamilton comes home second and Sainz in third. Perez fourth, Verstappen fifth, Russell sixth, Norris in seventh, and Ricciardo 8th, taking the final point, and Ocon, I say, just too much for us to handle at the end there. So P10 is still a good start to we gain places during this sprint, and Leclerc will be on pole for the run towards that first corner to try and win his first World Championship. Can he do it? And can we get some points as well? Albon finished down there in 15th. Let's hope for him to give us some backup. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's have a look at the standings now. So Leclerc pushing clear in the championship, 12 points away from Verstappen right now, and we still stay down there in 13th place, tied by Magnussen and Gasly. No change for us in terms of the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship, as we still stay right where we were with Williams, Haas and AlphaTauri, the main chasers. Alfa Romeo still with a chance. Aston Martin with that 1 point could pull it up with a decent result, but it's unlikely. But without further ado, let's jump right into the Grand Prix and just see where this result gets us. So here we go again, then time now for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the main event itself, the penultimate Grand Prix of this 2022 season, and we still have a good chance at getting some points on the board in order to try and help our Williams team to P6 in the Constructors. Has been the target for these last couple of races, and we're looking to try and get it done as quickly as we can on the grid here, getting ready for the start, as I say, qualifying in P10 after that result in the sprint. It was a very entertaining sprint, especially that battle with Ocon throughout the course of it, and we'll try and keep that continuing in the race. And it's here that I have to drop quite a large bombshell on you guys, as thanks to a number of grid penalties throughout the order, we're actually starting in P6 for this Grand Prix. It's an incredible starting position, and we've got a serious chance of getting some points on the board for this Williams team if we can have a good result and keep those guys away from us behind. As there's Mick Schumacher starting in P12 for this one. So as I say, a big opportunity to get some more points for the team. Now in terms of weather, we're looking at a bit of rain for this Grand Prix, midway through it as it stands. We're going from dry to wet to dry again, so it could be very entertaining in terms of strategy. We're looking to go on to start on those mediums, and then we'll change it up as the rain falls. It should be falling around the mid portion of the race itself, although it could come earlier, we never know, as we down the fuel. As we climb up on the grid here, look who we're starting. Look who we have starting around us there. We've got a couple world champions around us, Verstappen and Alonso there behind us, and Lewis Hamilton not too far back either. So could we see a battle with Verstappen on the start here? We'll have to wait and see as we come down to 5 red lights for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate Grand Prix of the season. And it's lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Decent getaway compared to those cars behind us, a particularly good getaway. And there goes Verstappen and Alonso though to the inside, 3 wide at turn 1. Alonso comes charging in front, he takes P6 but only for a moment. There goes the Dutchman back inside to claim the spot back, and there goes those two go side by side through turn 3. We've got a rearview mirror full of Lewis Hamilton to make our way out of turn number 3 and towards turn 4 for the first time. Gasly back there in 10th, that's 1 point for AlphaTauri right now. We've got 4 on our hands right now, so we're in the good at the moment. Let's wait and see how that goes later on in the race, but we've fallen back from the 2 world champions immediately, Verstappen and Alonso rather, and Hamilton's still there behind us. I don't see why he won't go for a move at some point. It won't go too long without trying to make a move, because of course he's still got a chance of winning this championship too. It's unlikely, but he's still got to go. He's looked to the inside of Alonso now for P7, and this Williams car still is doing a brilliant job despite being a lot slower than these machines from up front. So we're still doing a good job holding on. We've lost a place on this opening lap, but we're currently holding strong in P7. And on to lap number 3 now, try and chase down Verstappen and Ocon, try and make a move on the pair of them as they make our way through turn number 6 and towards 7. Could we have another go at Verstappen to the inside at the corner, very late on the brakes, lucky not to tap Ocon there. We've forced him a bit too deep, we've managed to take the place away from them, but Verstappen's still there on our inside on the exit, around the outside, we don't have much hope going towards the next right-hander. So we're up into P6, we've managed to pass Max Verstappen, the reigning world champion here. So brilliant, brilliant stuff as we're now chasing Ocon on lap number 6. DRS now deployed. Verstappen's about half a second back from us, so no threat from being overtaken down this straight. And on the run towards the corner, once again this battle with Ocon has reignited. We look to the inside, going into 4. Brilliant run on the exit. We managed to keep him behind us, and Verstappen might try and go for something as well if he gets close enough. We're currently running now up into P5 in this Grand Prix. Quite brilliant. It's come to lap number 7 now. We are seeing the first drops of rain falling on the circuit, so it won't be too long for us to start looking at pit stops here. Verstappen's there on our inside. We're just trying to cover him off as best we can coming down this main straight. Will he have another run with DRS? Of course, it's not going to be disabled just yet. The track isn't wet enough for that. Verstappen around the outside. It'll be clear of us going for turn 1. I'm going to try and look to the inside of him if we can. Very late on the brakes, lucky to not lock it up. Contact between the pair of us, practically forcing each other through turns 1 and 2. We've gone over the curves a bit. We've managed to keep it in front of him. No track limits rules broken there, according to the FIA in race control. So Verstappen now is behind us. We might have another run towards turn number 4, and Ocon's around the outside as well. So we're going 3 wide here into the 4th corner. Very narrow. We've managed to squeeze in through the middle, and Verstappen holds on in front of Alonso, and Ocon's now dropped back. As we come towards lap number 9 now, we've gone wide, allowed Verstappen through, but it is time to make our first pit stop in this race, and Verstappen's just about beating us in there, unfortunately, onto the pit limiter, only to manage to keep it in there to avoid getting that penalty that we've somehow avoided all season here. And we're looking at a set of intermediate tyres to go into the rainy portion of this race. We're hoping not to be held up by anyone around us. Making our way in optimal turning as always, and the Williams team getting to work here, changing those tyres. Been held up a decent amount there by Schumacher and Bottas, but 2.2 second stop. So a good stop from the crew. One of the best we've seen in recent races. So it's been a consistent 2.4 seconds each time. So consistency's always been a great thing. Hamilton's got in front of Verstappen here, but neither of them have what it takes right now to catch Charles Leclerc. Continues to show the way up front. Not sure if he's made his first stop yet, but I should assume he'll be coming in a moment or two if he hasn't. But Hamilton now in front of Verstappen, but we are seriously holding these two up, so their World Championship chances are sort of resting in our hands here, as Hamilton might try and go for a move if he gets close enough. We've got a number of cars coming to the pit lane that will push us back up into P5 here. Ocon managed to come out in front of him. He may be racing us on the pit exit. It'll be very close, but I dare say we've got him, and they definitely have a continent at number 13. Hamilton and Verstappen now chasing us. Again, their World Championship hopes sort of rest in our hands. The top 4 have already pulled away here. 11 seconds to Sainz there in P4. Just come down the main straight here. Hamilton's going to look to the inside going towards that first corner. We're going to try and do what we did with Ocon in the sprint. We're going to try and get close enough. We're going to have enough space to back off. Going into that first corner, he's got us on the inside. We may have no choice but to see here. But going through turn 2, we're going to try and hold him as best we can. Might have been a bit of contact there. We've managed to get around the outside of him. Fair game. And no warnings for contact, so we definitely got away with it. And on to number 15 now. Verstappen now wants his go at trying to take us on here. As it comes to the exit of turn 3 and towards turn 4, the rain really pelting the circuit here. You can see how much we're sort of struggling to keep up with our previous lap times. Verstappen there on our inside, maybe a bit of contact there, going into the corner. Verstappen gets in front of us, but almost loses the car a bit, and we almost have to go wide in order to avoid hitting him. There was a slight tap, but Verstappen now in front of us. We've got to try and go around the outside if we can, but he's just about to defend it, but leaves the door open just about long enough for us to go wide, and Hamilton to try and claim the place off us. We've run wide again there, and Verstappen up in front of us, and that might just be job done. If he can get in front of us, then he probably most likely will stay in front, as our Williams does not have the pace, especially in the wet, in order to try and hunt him back down again. So we might have to cede P5 for the time being, but it's still P6, which is still some good points on the board. It's comes in at number 17 now. Hamilton on the attack, looking to try and make something happen in order to try and catch Verstappen as best he can. And again, with Leclerc leading the way, both these two are struggling in terms of the championship order. And the weather report is saying we've got another 5-10 minutes of this rain at the moment, so before it starts drying up. As Hamilton looks to the inside, but he's still there. We've still got the foot of him. Going into turn 1, he's gone a little bit too deep into the corner, so we've got to go a bit wide. And going into turn 2, that's really put us off our line. We have to really back off there. But Hamilton there, falling away, and Alonso going past him as well. So Alonso's going to hit his got us now. Look at us racing several world champions in this Williams machinery that doesn't really deserve to be up there, given its performance. Coming towards the halfway stage of this Grand Prix now. Verstappen 5.6 seconds up the road, but Alonso is our main focus. We've got to try and keep him behind. This is the defensive drive if ever I've seen one. Alonso getting alongside us down the main straight, going towards turn 1. Going to try and play it smart here. We're going to back off, let him through, and then go late on the brakes, but just around him. That's a switch back on the straight going into that first corner. Normally we try and get it done out of a corner, but we've managed to get it done on the main straight, and that's brilliant stuff there. And we've managed to stick in front of him, and there's no DRS for him, so you'll be able to stay behind for the time being. We've got a yellow flag here come towards the end of lap number 23. Yellow flag behind us, I believe. One of the Mercedes cars slowing down, and I think that's Lewis Hamilton, who is dropping back here. Does he have a problem of some kind? We can't focus on it too much right now because we're busy defending from Alonso, but Hamilton falling into the back of the pack as Alonso pulls alongside us into turn number 1. It's very close between the pair of us. No contact made though, and once again I have to run the inside through 2, and into turn 3, staying in front. Let's see just what happened here to Hamilton. He's into the pit lane now, so I'm not quite sure what went down, as Alonso might try and look at us again here, going towards turn number 4. Very close, he's about less than 2 tenths behind, but Gasly's already making his hands quite full. But we've gone a bit too deep into the corner. Alonso taking advantage of us running wide and taking away P6. Let's try and get him back as best we can here on the way towards turn number 6. But how are we going to let that what happened with Hamilton here? Not quite sure though. It's not spin anything like that, and from what I can see, it might not have been a mechanical failure. It could have been potentially, but he's definitely going quite slow down this main straight up the hill. And again, not quite sure what's brought that on, but I dare say that is the end of Lewis Hamilton's dream for an 8th World Championship, because he's had a decent season, won a few races here and there, particularly that win in Monaco. But unfortunately, I dare say this is where his championship comes to an end. He will not contend for the title in Abu Dhabi. Back to our battle here. We're still chasing Alonso. We're going to look towards turn number 7. Going into the corner. Decent run. And we've got our nose in on the inside. Pulling alongside in the exit. And going around the outside at 8 here. Gasly and Ocon right there behind us. The two Frenchmen battling for position. Trying to see who'll take us on next. We've got the inside line for the next right-hander. Alonso might have no choice here but to fall back into line. But he's still there alongside us. He's not giving in. Fernando Alonso refusing to quit. We've got to run him onto the curb a little bit there in order to try and stay on the outside. Very aggressive. We've managed to keep in front now. On to number 27. Alonso's dropped back, and now it's Ocon's turn to try and take us on. He's got Gasly and Schumacher behind him. As there goes Alonso looking for P9 off the young German. And there goes Ocon there. Went on the curbs a little bit. We might have forced him just a bit too much. We've sort of paid the price for it. There's a bit of contact. Ocon's still on the inside, so we've got to not run our usual line, but we're going to stay in front of him for the moment. And on to number 29. The track is starting to dry to some extent as Gasly and Ocon take each other on behind. Gasly emerging on top on this occasion. Let's try and see if he has got what it takes. Of course, we are battling AlphaTauri for points in this Constructors' Championship, so the more points we can try and sneak off of Gasly with the cars behind, then the better. But it's come to lap number 29 now. You see Perez has pitted for soft tyres, and we're coming in for now for our second stop. And this stop has to be absolutely perfect in order to avoid us getting held up in any way in the pit lane. And so in order for us to hold on to this P6 position, we could lose it all right now. So we're hoping for the Williams crew to put on a good set of tyres, good stop, as we look to go on the soft tyres for the last 7 laps or so this Grand Prix. As you come in for the final stop of this race. I was worried for a second the Bottas to hold us up, but he's done no such thing. He's managed to get into his pit box just in time, and he's going in front of Gasly as we make our way into the soft tyres. DRS now enabled, so right now we are chasing for these next couple of points to finish in P6 as best we can. So let's see if we can get it done here. But Gasly and Russell are there behind us. They could be the main threats to our points paying tally. We should score points regardless. As we come to lap number 30, lap number 31, we've got a major problem there, as you saw on the bottom right. Our rear wing of DRS is broken completely. The DRS wing is stuck shut. So we've got to do the best we can here defending. It's coming towards the start of lap number 33 now. Just 4 more laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Gasly and Russell have finally caught us. And even if they're to get around us, we have no real way of defending ourselves thanks to having no DRS. But Gasly to the inside at turn number 4. He gets in front. We're trying to switch back if we can. And there's just enough room for us to squeeze inside at turn number 5. And that's a great run through. And Russell takes advantage. He takes away P7 here. And we push on now towards the last couple of laps onto lap number 35 of this Grand Prix. We're still holding on to P6. And Russell and Gasly about a second now down the road. Gasly seriously dropped back from Russell. So I dare say these points are more or less ours, unless Russell can try and get us here on the next lap and a half to go. Charles Leclerc's coming through. He's starting the final lap, and he's on his way to try to win the title because Verstappen and Hamilton won't catch him. And there's a yellow flag behind us. That's Pierre Gasly who spun it. I don't quite believe that. Gasly, who's almost trying to nick points of us, has spun it at turn number 4, and all of a sudden AlphaTauri's points chances are looking in jeopardy as everyone goes charging past the Frenchman there, and I dare say it's over for him. So it's only Williams and Haas, I believe, scoring points, and potentially Alfa Romeo as well, maybe Aston Martin. It's coming to the final lap of this Grand Prix, and we're still holding off Russell, about 4 tenths behind us here. Let's do everything we can in order to keep him behind, but as we push forward to the other half of the other side of the track, Charles Leclerc is coming up the hill to cap off a brilliant season of racing. He's going to make his way up the hill and into the last couple of turns to complete his dream and become the 2022 Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship champion, bringing home the title for Ferrari, who will take the Constructors' Championship as well. But in terms of our fight here, we come towards the last couple of corners, but I dare say we've got it. But Russell could have one last go at us here up the hill with the DRS. It's been very close, but I dare say we'll hold him off. We can't say anything until we've crossed the line here. Last couple of corners to cap off a brilliant drive from P6 to, well, P6, defending off the rest of the pack brilliantly. Russell looking to the outside. Will it be enough to come to the line? No, it won't. By half a car length, we've managed to take our best result of the season, P6. And that'll be 8 points towards our championship tally for us and for Williams, and giving us a brilliant chance of taking that position, P6, in the Constructors' Championship when we come to Abu Dhabi next time out. Brilliant stuff.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It might have look simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And there we have it then. Charles Leclerc is your World Drivers' Champion for Season 1 of Road to GOAT Driver Career Series. And there is Mattia Binotto giving him a hug to celebrate. He's finally done it after years of waiting with Ferrari. They've finally done the job, and I can't imagine he'd be any more proud than his team than they are with him now.
Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors' Championship at this point. But, so then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
What a race that was. What two brilliant races we've had in this Brazilian Grand Prix episode. And there are your final results from the race itself. Charles Leclerc wins it, Perez second, Norris takes third place in the end for McLaren, Sainz in fourth, Verstappen fifth. He got us in the end, but it wasn't enough. We come home sixth, Russell seventh, Schumacher eighth, Vettel ninth, and Bottas takes home the final points paying position. Our teammate Albon there in 13th. And Pierre Gasly all the way down in 17th in the end to that spin, unfortunately putting him out of contention for any points, but it's not looking good for AlphaTauri. You look at the standings here, Charles Leclerc confirmed as the championship winner by just 1 point. Technically, Verstappen could still time, but Leclerc would take it based purely off of those race victories, a number of those this season. In terms of constructors, Ferrari have won it over Red Bull and Mercedes, but we should now sit in P6 tied with Haas for the first time this season. So we're looking at mainly a Williams versus Haas showdown with AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo as potential underdogs looking to try and snatch it if a good result comes their way. So it's all going to come down to the final episode next time out in Abu Dhabi. Make sure not to miss it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers now. So if you could help me out with that, I'd really appreciate it. Make my day. Only takes a second of your time. Until my next video, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the finale. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later. Goodbye.